Good evening, folks. Welcome back to another Monday night live stream. I hope you're all well. I hope you had a fantastic weekend, and I hope your Monday is kicking this week off in the most fantastic of ways. How is everybody? Apologies for ditching last week's live stream, but we are here again this week to chat all things tabletop, food related, kind of miniature painting, gaming, anything you've seen in the news. Tabletop wise, we're not sitting here talking about wars and all that kind of stuff. We want to talk about your hobby and what you're up to and what you're interested in right now. So let's see who we've got in the chat this evening, and we'll say hello to a few folks. Super Pumpkin Man in nice and early there says good morning to all the nerdy people. Good morning to you, Mr. Pumpkin Man. Big Dave saying he's not going to make the stream tonight, but he's going to catch up tomorrow. Hello, Big Dave and the rerun mate. Hope you're well. Yeah, Cardos is saying hello all. I hope you're doing well. He says one more week of work and then I get to go home and game a bit. I'm assuming you must work away, Cardos. Is that right? Tasty Brain Drain, good evening to you, my friend. Haxan as well. Greetings, sir. How you doing? Major Tom there saying he's going to be a bit in and out tonight as he's got some airbrush work to finish off. Oh, interesting, mate. What are you up to? What you're painting? Let me know when you're in rather than out. Super Pumpkin Man says, I had to do a bit of different kind of painting this morning. A can of spray paint cracked and sprayed my bedroom door. Luckily, I covered the can fast enough and the floor is tiled. That must be a bit of a nightmare, mate. I can imagine it just going off with a bit of a bang there, mate. I hope it wasn't any serious damage anywhere. John Estel, he's saying, evening all. He's got some giant worms. You can get tablets, I think, for that, mate. Like, as long as you're feeling all right. He says, I'm happy to be here as well. And Colin Waitland saying, good evening. Good evening, Colin. How you doing? Super Pumpkin Man saying, if anyone was wondering, it's always a dark purple spray or a black spray, isn't it, mate? It would never be like a white or something like that. It would never be kind of like a light coloured spray, would it? Luke Pryor says, how are we all doing up here? I think we're doing all right, mate. I think we're doing okay. Bobby Clark saying, good evening all. Good evening, Bobby. How are you doing, mate? Bobby was the first person this month to send me the November painting challenge, and I can't wait to show them off next week. It looks amazing, and I'm really pleased Bobby's sent something in this month. For those that don't know, Bobby's a bit of a painter. He knows what he's doing with a brush and a few pots of paint, that's for sure. Jez Hunt, greetings and salutations. Hello, fella. How are you doing, man? Matt saying, evening all. Hope everyone had a good week. Mine's been pretty busy, mate, I'll be honest, but it's not been too bad at all. It was my twin sons, my oldest lads. It was their 21st birthday yesterday, so we did go out. They were out with their mates last night for a curry and stuff like that. But we did. Me and my wife and my little boy went out for lunch with them on Saturday, so it was nice to catch up with the lads and stuff and spend some time with them for their birthday. So yeah, it's been a bit of a busy weekend, but it's been a fun one. Super Pumpkin Man says, took 3 coats of white paint to repaint my door. Ouch, yeah, dark paint will do that, mate, as well. Yoakum, hello to you, mate. How are you doing, fella? Nice to see you. I just jumped off the top of my screen there. Let me go back. Andrew Fairbanks is saying, what day is today? Asked chat. It's BlackJack livestream day, said Andy. My favourite day, squeak chat. Nice one. Derek Hodge, good evening, Derek. How are you doing, mate? Long time no speak. Matt says, food related, bacon's back on the menu, boys and girls. I actually had a bacon sandwich this morning for my breakfast. My wife took the little boy to school this morning. She jumped in the car and dropped him off, and then I got the phone call to say, would you like me to bring anything back for you? And I was like, yeah, bacon sandwich would be quite nice, thanks. A bacon sandwich, and then the Christmas tradition of having some gingerbread latte as well. Yeah, lovely. VJ, hello mate, how are you doing? Nice to see you. Deep Red, hail and well met to you as well, my son. RPD says, hi all, might not be able to stay. Well, it's nice that you managed to pop in, mate. Zingbo saying he's trying to do functional adult things like sorting out car insurance this evening. I'd rather be painting. Adult stuff, it stinks, doesn't it? You don't need to be doing adult stuff. Like, nobody says this kind of stuff was like that you had to do it when you were younger. You just thought you could just grow up and play video games all day and not worry about stuff like that. Kermit Silly says, hello, I'm happy to see you. The lack of videos recently got me worried. No, to be honest, mate, I've kind of just been giving it a little bit of thought lately. Things that the videos haven't been doing particularly well. I think and I've said this to my Patreons as well, we've been chatting about it, YouTube's kind of changed how it shares things out. The hobby kind of environment on YouTube's changed a bit. If it's not Games Workshop, it doesn't do particularly well. I even see it from like when I do my This Week in Wargaming videos, I can see in the analytics, and you can see the points where people are watching more often in certain parts of the video. You can see the bits where they're switching off and things like that. And it's always allowed you to do this, and it kind of, you can go back and review videos and go, something I did here or something I said here, people turned off, or maybe there was an advert there or something like that. So you can always go back and kind of tailor your videos and understand what works and what doesn't. However, what I've noticed recently from those This Week in Wargaming videos is that basically people just fast forward to the Games Workshop stuff, and that's, unfortunately, that's kind of the way things are at the moment around YouTube. So yeah, I'm just taking a bit of time just to kind of reassess it. It seems a little bit silly to just keep making videos that are not really getting watched. It's only harming the channel in the long run. So I've just kind of just had a little bit of a kind of a reassess really, and try and understand what's the next step forward really for me. Last week's live stream was something different, mate. But yeah, nothing's up. It's just a case of sometimes you've got to take a step backwards to take a step forwards. Wayne Haywood saying hi all, hope all is well. Yes, mate, nice to see you as well. VJ saying grown a fresh crop. Do you know what it is, mate? I decided I have shaved my head for about, I must be kicking on for about 15 years now, or coming up to that. And when my kind of, obviously my hair's a bit thin. I'm not kidding anybody here, kind of thing. But when I was younger, it aged me a bit. It made me look a bit older. Where these days I'm nearly 50 now, and I thought, you know what it is, I'm going to give it one last wave of the flag, just and see how it looks. So I'm kind of giving it till Christmas. It's got about 4 weeks growth on it at the moment, and I went for a haircut to kind of trim back the sides and stuff like that. But I just thought I'd see what it's like. I don't think it's the end of the world having kind of a bit of thin hair when you're in your 50s kind of thing. So yeah, I thought I'll see what it's like, and then I'll know once and for all. Because if I don't do it, I'll always think, oh, I wonder what it looks like now, kind of thing. It's been such a long time since I shaved it, because I was kind of paranoid about it when I was younger. These days, I don't really care so much. Ed saying classic salamander still. Last 2 bodies for the kill team. Nice one, mate. I look forward to seeing them. Hacksan said he's feeling a bit rough with cold. So is my wife, mate, to be fair. Managed to get some painting and a game of Nemesis Lockdown in. Also fitted in a trip to Motorcycle Live to plan my nice bike. Oh, what kind of bike are you thinking of, mate? RPD say, anyone excited for Dungeon Saga Origins? It should be shipping soon, mate, shouldn't it? I think kind of end of the year was the plan, trying to get it under people's Christmas trees. And when I chatted to the Mantic guys, it was sort of back at their open day a few weeks ago. Everything was, at that point in time, all on track. I've not spoke to them since, so I've got no idea if that's changed. But, yeah, shouldn't be long, mate. Shouldn't be long. John Shepard, just scrolling, flying up there. John Shepard, I was about to say. Saying, I hope you're all well, and happy birthday for this coming Saturday, Andy. Thank you very much, mate. It is my birthday this Saturday coming. I'm having a day off on Friday with my wife. She's taking a day off work. We're going to go to like an escape room and kind of have a bit of a day out, and maybe a little bit of Christmas shopping, and have some nice food and a few drinks, and yeah, have a Friday night out. So yes, we're celebrating a little bit early for my birthday on Friday. Super Pokemon Manson, he's loving the Flesh Eater court reveals from the weekend. I've not seen any of the Games Workshop reveals from this weekend, mate, to be fair. Jez is saying, actually played a game of Veritwood last night. It's a cracking game. I was just about to say, mate, how is it? Give me the kind of the 5-word pitch kind of thing. What kind of game is it? Just give it to me in a little snippet. Somberland, good evening to you, mate. How you doing? He says, hope everybody's well. I have way too many projects right now on my hobby table, so I'm trying to prioritise. At first, I'm trying to finish some Carnivalian minis. That's the way to do it, mate. Don't have too much stuff on your hobby table all at once. Just have the thing on your table that you're working on. It really helps you focus, stops you getting distracted. If you're bored of that project, box it up and put it to one side and start something else. But honestly, there's nothing worse than having 25 different projects all scattered out there everywhere. Clyde, how you doing, mate? Jill Munro, nice to see you too, Jill. Saying good evening all, very long time no see. Hope everyone is well. Hope you're well too, Jill. Jez is saying, anyone seen Pete the Wargamer has... Oh, where did that go? Where was it? I just said... Has anyone seen Pete the Wargamer has a Kickstarter up? Sprues of bones and antlers and things. Great for kit bashing. I haven't seen that, mate. I know he's into his kind of animal carcasses and stuff like that. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Tasty Brain Drain saying food chat's kind of appropriate today, seeing as how it's Thanksgiving this Thursday in the States. I always forget it's Thanksgiving around this time as well, because it's always Black Friday around my birthday, so of course it's Thanksgiving. So yes, happy Thanksgiving to all of the stateside folks. Artist Empire, good evening, mate. Nice to see you in as well. Matt saying, I've noticed the other gaming channels that the difference between GW and non-GW videos is ridiculous when it comes to views. It's always been a bit different, mate. Like, I mean, there's all like I'm not kidding about anybody kind of thing. Like, I always knew that non-Games Workshop stuff would get less views, but it was never a case of like, if it wasn't Games Workshop, it never even got out there. It got buried, kind of thing. But things have definitely changed recently. There's definitely been a bit of a shift, and that's why I'm just reassessing. Really, I just need to understand kind of what's the best step forward, really, because I still want to make the content that I'm passionate about, but it doesn't really work, because it's a double-edged sword, really. Like, if nobody watches it. Oh, what's that on it? Jez Hunt, thank you very much, Jez. What was that? Happy birthday for coming Saturday. Have a pint on me. Thank you very much, mate. I will certainly. I tell you what, mate, with that very generous donation, I will treat myself to a little cocktail. Thanks very much, mate. Yeah, what was I just saying there? We were talking about... yes, sorry, that's what I was going to say. So, yeah, so if you... In the past, if you made a video that wasn't really kind of Games Workshop stuff, it would just generally get less views. But as long as you knew that in advance, it was fine. These days, it's changed a bit. And what happens is not only does it get less views, but it's not even getting shared out to a wider audience to allow them to choose if they want to watch it or not. What happens now is, like, for example, my last This Week in Wargaming video, basically just like Games Workshop, YouTube just didn't even share it, really. It was like they didn't even share it with subscribers. It was just basically buried away, and it's unsurprisingly, it's one of my worst performing videos for probably the last few years, and that kind of flies in the face of the really nice comments and really good feedback that I'd been getting about previous ones. And they're not quick to make those videos. Like, they take me about 3 days by the time I kind of spend some time researching online, looking to see what's in the news this week. I can't do it too early, because then it's not this week's news anymore, kind of thing. So I tend to make a start on it on a Wednesday. I probably spend half a day writing the script for it. I've got to gather all of the different images, all the different videos and stuff from all over the internet, and pull them all together. I've got to record the audio, kind of sync it all up, get all of the editing to make sure all of the pictures fit the edits and stuff like that. Like, they're not a quick video to make. I enjoy them. They're really fun, and I enjoy making that kind of video, but they're certainly not fast. So it can take me sort of like 2.5, 3 days to make that video. And then when YouTube just goes, well, we're not gonna tell anybody it's there, we're not even gonna share it out, kind of thing, it's a bit demoralizing, especially when I know that I could make a video just going like a bit like a live stream, really, where I just go, this is what Games Workshop released this week, looks pretty good, doesn't it? And I know that would do 3 to 4 times as many views and wouldn't take me any kind of effort or any kind of research or anything, because there's plenty of people out there doing those kind of videos that are doing much better than mine. So I'm not bitter about it. Like, it's not one of those things, and it's always about kind of influencing what you can influence, change what you can change, don't worry about the stuff that you can't do anything about, kind of thing. So that's why I'm kind of taking a bit of a breather and just trying to understand, so what do I do different? Because if I keep doing the same thing, I'm just going to keep getting the same results. So that's madness, really, isn't it? Excuse me. Frantic says, don't people say you shouldn't focus on numbers to grow your channel? It's true, mate. You shouldn't focus on numbers. However, there is still an element of, if you're making videos and people aren't getting to see them, you need to do something different. So, like, in order for me to keep this working as a full-time gig, it needs to kind of have a, people will join the Patreon, people will leave the Patreon. That's absolutely fine. That's just natural kind of change. People enjoy watching the channel for a bit, and then they might get a bit bored of it and they go off and they watch something else kind of thing. And then new people find it. And that's just, it's a bit like, the Sky TV subscription service where people have it for a while the football season's on and then they don't get it. But as long as Sky keep getting new subscribers on a cycle, they're fine kind of thing. And the Patreon and the support for this channel works pretty much the same way. The problem is when the videos don't get shared out, I don't get to kind of get in front of new people. Therefore, I can't replenish that kind of that natural cycle of it. So yeah, it's madness to just keep making stuff that doesn't work. So yeah, it's just a bit of time. So yeah, so I'm not focusing on the numbers as such. It's just that the numbers are what I would call an output. They are a consequence of me doing the right things. If I do the right things and the inputs, the outputs take care of themselves. So what it would suggest is because the outputs aren't as good as I would like, I'm doing something that's not working on the inputs, and that's the bit I'm focusing on. So the views are just a reflection of kind of the output, really. Stephen Ramsey, good evening, mate. How are you doing? Nice to see you. Just having a chat with Artist Empire there. Matt saying, so how does deal with the GW domination on news videos? I prefer videos that expose me to new gaming videos and minis, but it kills a channel doing so. And hence, here is the problem here, and here is why I'm trying to kind of find a way forward for this, because my passion is still around all of the other bits of game systems and the alternative stuff. I like Games Workshop stuff, but I generally don't play their games. Like, there's plenty of people making that content. They don't need me to keep making more of the same kind of stuff. I'd rather cover the stuff that other people don't cover. Herein lies the problem, though, is that when you're covering stuff that people don't cover, YouTube doesn't share it out because nobody else is making it. Therefore, it's a little bit niche. And in the past, niche stuff used to be able to find a home on YouTube. It used to be able to kind of break its way through, because what it would do is it would kind of get shared if people were like looking at or searching for that kind of stuff. I think just as what's happened over time is Games Workshop's popularity has definitely impacted, and there are more kind of YouTube channels than there's ever been focused on making GW content. You just got to look at this last weekend with how much Legion Imperialis stuff that was kind of sent out to people. Like, that's all my internet feed was. That's all my YouTube feed was over the weekend, was Legion Imperialis stuff. So it just shows how many more channels there are out there now versus when I started 7 years ago. Like I say, things have just changed, that's all. Let's have a little look here. Let me scroll back up. Where was that? Where did that chat disappear? Spoony saying, evening, what's the theme? No real theme tonight, mate. Just thought we'd have a catch up. We missed last week, so I'm sure there'll be plenty to talk about. Just thought we'd chat general hobby gaming bits and pieces. But at the minute, we're just kind of chatting about how YouTube has changed at the moment. Andrew says, wait, you can grow hair above your forehead. Why were you shaving it? Do you know what it is, mate? It was because when I was younger, it was quite thin. Like, and I also found out something recently that high blood pressure can affect hair growth, and also I'm anemic as well, so I have low iron in my blood, and that can also affect hair growth. And now my medication is kind of my blood pressure is back to on a normal level, and has been for a couple of years now. And I've recently started taking iron tablets to help with my anemia, and like those kind of things. I was thinking, is that going to have any effect, kind of thing? So yeah, so I just thought I'd give it a try, see how it goes. It's still not. I mean, there's still patches, there's still thin bits up there, but I'm kind of figuring that if I can get through this kind of these early stage of looking a bit like a bit of a fluffy mess kind of thing. That's why I almost put a cap on tonight just to cover it up. But I'm kind of living with it. I'm getting through it. Eventually it'll get to the point where it gets a bit longer and it kind of all messes in together. And then I'm not really worried about it being a bit thin, like when I'm like late 40s, early 50s, which I am now, where I was like in my 30s kind of thing. RPD says end of November. That's right, mate. Yeah. And RPD says they're getting it in on the 23rd, and then UK delivery will be 1 to 2 days after that. Okay, mate. I hadn't seen any dates on it. Camo, good morning to you, mate. Jez, thank you again as well for the donation. I've just come up to where that is in the stream. Thank you very much for the birthday donation. Haxan saying, considering a Triumph Street Twin or a 900 Scrambler. Nice, mate. I do like the Triumph. Says, couldn't understand why the 400 Scrambler has a taller seat than the 900. It's kind of weird, mate, isn't it? Normally the 400s were always kind of like sort of, like when I was into sort of sports bikes and stuff, all the 400 stuff, 400cc was all Japanese import, and it was always like on a slightly kind of like smaller size because it was built for a Japanese nation, not kind of big Americans and UK folks. Johnson, the only animal carcass I like is served with brown sauce and a bun. Yes, mate, yes. Zingbo says, I noticed Peter Wargamer's Kickstarter earlier this evening. It looks like a good idea, especially with the bits being in plastic rather than the resin or only being STLs. Let's have a little look. I don't know anything about it, so let's have a look at Pete the Wargamer Kickstarter. Let's have a look and see what it is. Dead animal bits, perfectly named. So, just found out about it, but I'm like, there's no sponsorship or anything like that. I'm just sharing it because, let me just zoom in a bit. Sharing it because the folks are talking about it. So, it has a goal of just under £21,000. It's at 3,000 at the moment. It's got 27 days to go. I'm giving you like the news update today, so here you go. And it just says here, spare parts emporium, dead animal bits, plastic conversion bits. So yeah, and he basically just got a few components. So there's bits of horns in there, bits of antlers. Looks like some kind of hanging heads and stuff from hooks, jaw bones. Could be a moustache, but I assume it's more like a kind of like a horn from some kind of animal. And it's all going to be kind of plastic and on sprues. But I'm assuming it needs to meet its target to be able to have enough people to make it work. So you got things here like bird skulls, ram horns. Femur, got shark jaws and things like that, and then obviously here's where he's been using them on bits and pieces himself as well, just showing what you can do with those kind of bits and pieces. So yeah, if this is something that's up your street, if you're a bit of a kit basher and it's your kind of thing, it looks like he's working with War Games Atlantic to make it happen. Absolutely head over and check it out. I'll put a link to it here into the chat. But yeah, head over and check it out. There's a link there. VJ saying it's birthday time of year. A bit flat at the moment, so not really planning anything myself this year. No, it's I think I'm ready for a night out, mate, if I'm being perfectly honest. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Having a couple of beers with my wife on Friday. Andrew saying, I like how you said stateside, folks, as if we're still part of British monarchy. It's the States. I don't know. That's just kind of... Yeah, I don't know where that phrase kind of come from. It's always kind of just been like, like stateside. Yeah, maybe across the pond, and there you go, mate, across the pond. Jessica saying, Veritwood is a very low mini count folk horror skirmish game where your cult fights others in a cursed forest for your dark god. Cheap rules on Wargames' fault. Sounds up my street, mate. I'll check it out. Frantic says, this week in Wargaming should be very easy to manipulate. There's always GW news to include alongside the other stuff. I don't know if you've seen any of my this week in Wargaming stuff, mate, but I have put GW stuff in there. And as I mentioned at the start of the stream, some of those ones have done pretty well. So for example, I did one that was about GW doing some shady moves, and I did it intentionally kind of clickable thumbnail. The video did fine, it did all right, and then if you look in the analytics, you can see people are just skipping forward to watch the GW stuff, and that's just, it's kind of frustrating when you put the effort into the other bits and pieces and nobody's watching it. I'll see if it's something I can show you, because it's very, very evident when you start going into the analytics and you look at this kind of stuff. Let me see if I can find one to show you as an example. Oops, let me just close that one down. Oops. But yeah, it's just such a shame. That's all. That's unfortunately that's how it is. But yeah, there's plenty of GW stuff out there for that kind of thing. So right, let me have a look here. If I look at reach, is it on here? It's on engagement. So let me see if I can. So this is the one that probably did the best out of all of them. And is there anything on here? I'm just seeing if there's anything on this screen that we shouldn't be sharing. No, it looks fine. It looks fine. So you can see here. So this is the graph, and this one didn't do too bad. It was the first one, to be fair, as well. So what you've got here is this is the chart across the entire length of the video, and this is where basically all videos kind of drop off in the first 30 seconds because people click on them, they click off, they click on them, they, adverts, all that kind of thing. But that's actually not too bad, and that's basically the retention of like keeping people there. But where this goes back up again here, if I click here, what you'll find is, unsurprisingly, this is the point where I start talking about Games Workshop. So you can see here it's gone off, and then as I click forward slightly, there you go. This is the Games Workshop stuff. And unfortunately, all of the videos are like that. And you can basically see where I mean, I've had comments like this is just, what was it? One of the comments was something like, this is like 5 minutes of adverts before you even get to the GW stuff, and it's like, I don't think you understand what this is kind of what this is about. There's another one from a different one. So you can see here again, it's dropping away. We get to this point where it jumps back up again. If I click on here to show what the video is, unsurprisingly, look, we're coming out of the back of some stuff about my mini factory and only games. And then as we come forward, here we go. It's the Games Workshop Warcry content, and unfortunately this is a common path now that basically you can just see this is the point where people skip forwards to the Games Workshop stuff, watch that, and then turn it off, kind of thing. And it's kind of frustrating to put all that effort in when and to be fair, the ones I've shown you are the better ones. They're the ones that performed better, to be fair. Yeah, so yeah, unfortunately, that's just how it is. Matt saying, so the dreaded YouTube algorithm at play. I mean, to be fair, mate, it's not just that YouTube algorithm. If people were searching or people were watching them to start with, they would be getting recommended back to them. It's more about, are people actually searching for it, or are people actually like looking for stuff that's not Games Workshop? So it's not just, I mean, at the end of the day, YouTube doesn't care what you watch. They just want to know what you're watching, kind of thing. So they will recommend to you the kind of things that you watch. And I would bet that everybody here watches videos about Games Workshop stuff, and then there's lots of it out there, and they're popular videos, so they get recommended back. Yeah, Matt saying, everything must confirm and sell ad space or be denied. I miss the old YouTube where everything was done on merit and not chasing views. I mean, it does change how they share stuff out, but I think it's definitely relevant, as opposed to, like, things have changed. Like, what they recommend has changed over time, I suppose. Kermit says, when did you release your last This Week in Wargaming? Last I see is from 3 weeks ago. Did you put it up for patrons, but not for general public? No, mate, no. The last one I did was 3 weeks ago. That was the one that absolutely bombed, mate, to be fair. John saying, yeah, some reaction YouTubers have even hit with repeat content strikes by YouTube and invalid traffic, causing them to lose ad revenue. Okay. Dumfries Gamers TV says, it's a shame you aren't more of a Warhammer fan, not a criticism. I really enjoy and appreciate your down-to-earth and happy-go-lucky approach to hobbying. The GW community needs more of that. I mean, I wouldn't say I wasn't a Games Workshop fan, mate. I mean, because I don't want to kind of give off the vibe that I'm anti-Games Workshop or I'm against the games or anything like that. I just find that I like to play lots of different things. There's lots and lots of stuff out there that doesn't get talked about. I like to flip backwards and forwards. I find some of the Games Workshop, I find that the games themselves aren't as fun. I think they make absolutely beautiful miniatures. I think they create fantastic worlds around their game systems. I think Necromunda as a setting is fantastic. I think some of the Necromunda miniatures look absolutely beautiful. I'm not that interested in the game itself. Warcry, I was really sort of a big fan of it, and I talked about this a few weeks ago, that basically kind of like lockdown came along and I wasn't getting to play any games anymore, and then other games came out. I started playing things like Marvel Crisis Protocol, and kind of Warcry went to the back shelf a little bit. I played Kill Team quite a bit when they're like the newer versions, like not this version that's out now, but the version prior to that. When that was out, I played that quite a bit with a few guys that like sort of lived locally. So I'm not like, by no means am I, and I also played Age of Sigmar for a few years as well. And the only reason I stopped playing was I had a Beastclaw Raiders army that was, and I that was the army I wanted to play because I liked the big beasts, the monsters, the big kind of like mammoth type things. And the rules changed for Age of Sigmar, where you scored by holding objectives, whoever had the most models on the objective, and my entire army was probably about 15 models kind of thing. So instantly, like, my army just wasn't scoring at the time. So at that point, I decided to go and play something else. So it tends to be the rules that kind of push me away a little bit, but I'm not necessarily, I'm certainly not like a hater of Games Workshop stuff. I find that it moves too fast for me to kind of keep up with it, to talk about it from a YouTube standpoint, because there's something new releasing every week, and I'm not on the radar in terms of Games Workshop to be getting sent stuff. I'm certainly not in a position to be buying, like trying to like keep up with it by buying all of their new stuff. So yeah, so I appreciate what you're saying, and I would agree. I think the GW community needs a little bit more of a level head at times as well. But yeah, who knows? Maybe in the future, maybe something will grab my attention. Jill saying Jesse Cox was saying something almost identical about news videos on video games recently. Yeah, I don't think it's just me. I think a lot of YouTube channels, especially kind of within miniature gaming as well, like even some of the Warhammer channels and stuff, their views that they're getting now are not the same as what they were getting previously. And I don't think we've all just suddenly got worse kind of thing. I think that there's so much stuff uploaded to YouTube now that unfortunately the drama kind of stuff steals a lot of the bandwidth now, and it definitely kind of, people watch it. It's like a car. It's like the whole thing about if you're driving down the motorway and you saw somebody sort of picking flowers, having a picnic at the side of the road, having a good time, you wouldn't kind of slow down and have a look. But if somebody's had a car crash, everybody slows down and have a look. It's just in human nature. I saw something as a statistic type thing the other day. Well, not a statistic, but more of a fact. As it says that babies will stare longer at an angry face than they will at a happy face. And that is, there's just something built into human DNA that makes us want to be drawn to drama and controversy and that kind of thing. And I think all that's happened is over time is YouTube and Facebook and internet has basically capitalized on that. Like, it's if people were more interested in happy stories, the news would be full of happy stories. Like, YouTube videos would all be happy videos kind of thing. So I think it's just the nature of the beast kind of thing. So you either get on the bull, if you like, and feed into it and feed that beast, or you try and do something to kind of like for me personally, I would hate to be on that hamster wheel of like having to make angry ranty videos kind of thing. It would destroy my own mental health, I think, at that state. Super Pumpkin Man saying, yeah, I didn't get any notification on Friday. Yeah, I haven't released one for a few weeks, mate, to be fair, mind. Let's have a little look here. Some of this is just like jumping ahead a little bit. I'll just kind of dive in here. Just to say, mini YouTube is all GW, RPG YouTube is all D&D, Nature of the Beast. Yeah, it is, mate. Yeah, and I am not complaining about it. All power to the folks that's making it work for them. I just need to kind of reassess how I approach this so that it's worth my time and effort, and I can give you something that not only is worth watching, but that you actually get to see. It actually gets out in front of people. Peter says, good luck with the luscious locks. Just don't let it go to Trump levels. No, I've given myself till the end of the year really to have a look at it, mate, to be fair. Haxan saying, I had very long hair for over 20 years. As it started to recede, I began to resemble Bill Bailey. I decided to have it cut short and have stuck with that for the last 12 years. Yeah, I mean, like my kind of hairline's not like obviously it's receding. I'm not, but it's like, it's more kind of coming through. The fluff's coming through on the top now, to be fair. Camo says, have you considered duplicating your channel on Rumble like Sword and Steel does? First of all, mate, I've never heard of Rumble, and I think that, and second of all, I think that kind of answers the question. If I've not even heard of Rumble, I'm assuming that it's not going to get any more views on Rumble than it gets on YouTube, to be fair. Jez is saying, I got on it, love kid bashing. Vigi saying that now someone definitely needs to use some of those smooth horns as a mustache on a mini. John saying, I had a Kickstarter delivered today, a card game. Not looked at the game yet. I was disappointed with the playmats. They look like they're being printed on a pound shop printer on budget settings 1. That's a shame, mate. Dare I ask what the Kickstarter was? What the card game was? It doesn't sound like you're overly impressed with it, mate. Yeah, Jez is saying, such a shame they were great shows, auto photoshopping. I quite enjoy that kind of stuff, mate, to be fair. And like I say, like a lot of it's about me just getting pleasure out of it. But like I say, like this is a business at the end of the day, and I have to be realistic. There's a real fine line between being the struggling artist kind of thing and just making what I want to make, but then nobody ever sees it kind of thing, and then I can't afford to keep going and making whatever the mainstream thing is and just catering to feed the beast, but it gets clicks and it gets money. Somewhere in the middle is a happy medium of basically being able to do what I want to do, but being able to reach an audience. And that's I'm just reassessing at the moment. I think it's a healthy thing to do. I think if I just keep doing what I'm doing, it becomes depressing and it becomes frustrating. That basically you know, it's like what's the thing about the definition of madness is basically keep doing the same thing and expecting different results kind of thing. That's the kind of mantra really. So I'm just taking a bit of a breather really, just trying to reassess. It's really hard to try and change direction and to try and make a new path when you're on that hamster wheel of just keeping making videos and keeping going and doing the same thing, because you don't give yourself the breathing space to be able to come up with a fresh idea. So especially when I work on my own as well, just me doing this, nobody else kind of feeds me ideas. So yeah, I'm just taking a bit of time just to understand really. Clyde saying we're going to have to deep fake Andy to get this week in Wargaming. Greg Cherry, hello mate. He says November's his month to dig out projects I didn't finish. Finally finished original Code 1 starter and got games in. Feels good. Also finished painting some Drowned Earth I've had since the first Kickstarter. That's the way to do it, mate. Just keep going. Matt says thumbs up if people wouldn't mind. Helps the channel out. It does help the channel out, mate. More than you'd realise, to be fair. It definitely like people sharing stuff, people liking stuff, people commenting on the videos. Like the money side of things is how I make my kind of livelihood, if you like. That's what keeps the lights on. That's what pays the bills. It allows me to pay for things like my Adobe subscription. It allows me to kind of to make this, and it's more of a part-time job in terms of salary, but it allows me to kind of to be able to do this as a job, because there are definitely easier ways to go out and make money. I could definitely go and I could collect trolleys in a shopping market, in a supermarket car park, and probably make more money, but it wouldn't allow me to do the thing that I kind of love doing. So yes, the money's important, but like getting to do this, you know what I mean, is the thing. So yeah, the money's helpful, but without the likes, without the sharing of stuff, without the subscribing of stuff, without the commenting and things like that, that all helps kind of kick the algorithm in upper gear and move things on as well. And I don't really concentrate on that kind of stuff, because my mantra, my kind of thought process has always been, if I make good videos, people will get to see them, and if they like them, then they'll comment, they'll give it the thumbs up and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, unfortunately, that's not necessarily how it works. Not anymore, anyway. Jez is saying, how do GW people not just get bored of GW stuff? It's like eating chips with every meal and only eating chips. So odd. The thing is, mate, I don't even think that's a bad thing. GW release so much stuff, and it's a like, can you imagine if you've got something that you absolutely love, and there's new stuff coming for it all the time, like, you'd be pretty happy about it. So I mean, I don't think it's a negative thing for people to like GW stuff. Like, I can appreciate that people must get overwhelmed with it, and I find it strange that there's like 25 channels all just regurgitating the news that GW have just announced, like, over the last few hours, kind of thing. I find that a strange thing that people don't sort of, because a lot of those videos I find them weird, because like everything on YouTube, it's about being first. So people make a video instantly about some new news from Games Workshop, and for me, I couldn't do that. I'd want to kind of digest the new stuff, look at the images, form some thoughts, think about how I would use them, think about colour scheme, and then maybe talk about them to have something to add to the conversation. But there are a lot of channels who basically just like ping you, Games Workshop said this thing, right, there's my video telling you that Games Workshop just said this thing. So yeah, I do find that kind of stuff strange. But yeah, people don't get bored of it because that's the thing that they love. John says, I think the algorithm will affect things through a lot of creators I watch have had to change what they do. You definitely do, mate. And it's kind of, it's a bit mad to think that I could continue doing the same thing forever and expect to sort of grow. You need to change. You need to forge a new path. You need to kind of to up your game. You need to kind of, like, you know, you need to move with the times a little bit. So yeah, I'm fine with that. I just need to work out what that is. Clyde, thank you very much for the super chat there, mate. I completely missed that. It says, be sure to get a decent birthday gift. Thank you very much, mate. That's very, very kind of you. Oh, where was that one going? Let me scroll back here because it's just jumped up a little bit. Matt saying to Jez there, yeah, you tend to get burned out by GW business practices before boredom kicks in. I think it's yeah, and he's saying there's a reason GW has the average fan as lasting 3 years in the hobby before dropping out. And again, this is the whole thing about it doesn't matter that people drop out of the hobby as long as new people are coming in behind them to pick up the slack, kind of thing. Paul says, I don't watch videos about GW and they still recommend them to me. Recommendations are also based on your internet history as well, and I spend a lot of time Googling miniatures. Yeah, I mean, a prime example is sometimes, even if you look in the YouTube listings when they're recommending things, like the title isn't miniature game and it's Warhammer kind of thing, and even games that are not Warhammer come up in the Warhammer kind of thing, and so what happens is channels like mine and channels that try to make stuff about things other than Warhammer end up somehow shoehorning Warhammer into the title and shoehorning it into the thumbnail. So it's like, this game is a Warhammer beta, or I made the best Warhammer army ever, and then it turns out it's a 3D printing thing about one-page rules or something like that. But unfortunately, the algorithm is just seeing Warhammer will share it out, Warhammer will share it out. And it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, unfortunately, that like the more you try to fight against it, the more you get buried in the mud. So you end up leaning into it to try and get out of that situation, and before you know it, you're just doing the same thing everybody else is doing and kind of sort of hanging on the coattails of a GW title. Doug, good evening, mate. How are you doing? Or good afternoon to you, sir, anyway. Hope you're doing well, mate. VJ saying, doing a great job and still getting kicked in the teeth, while others get massively rewarded for barely putting in any effort. Story of my life too, right? So I feel you. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's been times when it kind of gets me down, and I've been frustrated about it, but it's time to kind of, I don't like the term, but it's time to man up kind of thing and just accept that I need to make some changes. I need to do something different, and it needs to not just be a knee-jerk reaction. I need to really kind of think it through. So that's what I'm doing. I'm being a realist about this kind of stuff. Yeah, Camo saying more videos to watch, but still only 24 hours in a day. I forget what the what the stats are, but there's something like thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of YouTube content uploaded every hour. Like, you could never watch it all. It's just like, so I understand, like, as a system, YouTube can only recommend out so many things. So it takes into account like your sort of history and stuff like that of what you've watched in the past. Like, I uploaded some videos for Mantic when I did the interviews for them at their open day, and I uploaded the videos to their system, and it's the first time I've ever really seen anybody else's analytics, and it was interesting. It basically tells you what their viewers also watch, and it was all GW stuff. So it's unsurprising, like people who are subscribed to the Mantic YouTube channel to watch Mantic stuff, which is all non-GW stuff. They don't even mention GW. They don't even put Warhammer in their titles, and yet their audience are still just watching GW videos. So yeah, that's just the state of play right now. Matt says, being on that hamster wheel of negativity must be soul destroying. That's exactly my thought, mate. So I've noticed that hanging around more positive channels like yourself has helped me with my own mental health and positivity. I will 100% always say this, mate, and this is not about me, this is not about any other channels or anything like that. This is just about life in general. If you can hang around with and you surround yourself with people who are generally positive people, they're a bit more upbeat. They're not the ones that are always complaining about stuff. They're not the ones that are doom scrolling all the time. They're not the ones that are always complaining about how bad things are. If you surround yourself with positive people, you'll by osmosis, you will just absorb that like positivity and just generally be a more happy person. I found myself during lockdown and stuff when all that was on TV was doom and gloom, and I wasn't out there talking to people. I found it like dragging me down, and it was just because I was surrounded by negative stuff. So by all means, like, you know, watch what you want to watch and kind of, you know, enjoy the things you want to enjoy, but take some time to kind of be around positive people. Absolutely. Be that virtually, like from YouTube videos and things, be it listening to kind of positive sort of podcast type things, or a positive voice. I'm not talking about, like, you know, not everybody needs to be a happy clapper kind of thing, but just, yeah, it makes a massive difference, honestly. Haxan saying, I like GW models, but I only play Warcry. Played All Kill Team for a while, but didn't transfer to the new rules, and rarely watch non-Warcry stuff. Yeah, I used to play a lot of Warcry as well, mate, to be fair. I haven't played the newer version of it, I'll be honest. When things changed a bit, the rules changed a bit, but I'm still a big fan of the old system, to be fair. Where was yeah, Superpunky Man saying, humans respond to negative events not because it's interesting, but because our brains are trying to figure out if we can help or how to avoid it happening to ourselves. Yeah, it might well be the case, mate, but it is definitely, like I said before, it's definitely, we are attracted for whatever the reason. Like, we're hardwired to be attracted to that kind of stuff. Greg Cherry says, avoid Rumble Man, Nutcase Central. Rumble Man, I don't know what Rumble Man is. John says, They Live, the card game. Oh, that's a shame, mate. I quite like the film They Live, if that's what it's based on. Paul says, have you thought about wearing a low-cut top and having the camera angled downwards? I could do, mate, but to be fair, I'll probably get banned for having too much cleavage. Because I tell you what, mate, as the good life catches up with me, mate, I think I need a bigger bra than my wife. Red Rose Wargaming, good evening, Anna. How are you doing? Matt saying, here there, Red. And I've just come across there where Clyde did the donation as well, saying, get a decent birthday gift. Thank you very much, my kind mate. John saying, Iconic Games did the Kickstarter and I have backed the Saw Jigsaw trials by the same company, so hope it's better. Do you know what, mate? As soon as I saw you'd wrote Iconic there, my mind went to the Saw game. I'm a huge fan of horror films, and like it or hate it, I'm a big fan of the Saw franchise as well. I loved the new film. I really enjoyed the Saw 10. However, I must admit I haven't backed that Kickstarter, but I was keeping an eye on it, and you might have just kind of convinced me to just watch from afar and see if it goes to retail. Ed saying, you can play a wide variety of games without leaving the GW bubble. That keeps a lot of people from getting bored. Absolutely, mate, absolutely. Like I said before, there's always new stuff coming. There's so many kind of sort of GW adjacent stuff or 40k adjacent stuff or Age of Sigmar adjacent stuff, if you're into kind of like, if you're into that world, like if you're embedded in that 40k lore in the universe and the Horus Heresy stuff and things like that, you can quite happily kind of bounce around between 40k and 40k Combat Patrol and Kill Team and Imperialis and Aeronautica Imperialis and what was the other one? The kind of the big scale thing, Titanicus. Like, and you can bounce around in Necromunda. You can bounce around between all of these things and never really get bored, to be fair. John Ashley Smith, good evening, mate. He says, good evening from South Ontario. Beautiful place, mate. Yeah, nice to see you. Jill saying it's the same as MMO coverage of games that aren't World of Warcraft. Don't get the views, have to mention World of Warcraft if they want to succeed. Like, honestly, as I said before, like I am not complaining about it. This is not like, woe is me, like, look what's happening, I'm making amazing videos and nobody watches them kind of thing. This is just the way of the world. This is just the way things are. And you can... It's already a bit of an uphill swim kind of thing when it comes to covering things that aren't the main, like the number one, the dominant force. And that's not just a Games Workshop thing. It might be if you're trying to do RPGs that are not Dungeons and Dragons. If you're trying to do, like you said, if you're trying to do MMOs games that are not World of Warcraft. If you're trying to do what they called, like sort of, I can't even remember what they're called now, like games like League of Legends, if you're not doing Call of Duty, all of those kind of things, if you're not doing Minecraft, everybody comes up against this if they're not covering the number one thing. The annoying thing is that there is definitely a market out there, because all of these other companies in the tabletop space all are in business. They're all making at least enough money to keep going, if not enough money to make a profit anyway, but they're certainly all making enough money to keep going. There is so much different choice. Like, it's not like my feed is full of like World War II games, for example. But historical gamers are a huge part of tabletop gaming. But I don't get loads of like historical games kind of like sort of recommended to me on YouTube. I just it's a weird situation. John saying, yeah, it's like when I search for wargaming stuff on Google and then on Facebook, I get inundated with ads for the stuff I've been Googling. That's it. Big Brother's watching now, mate. That's for sure. Jill says, so much of it's beyond your control. All you can do is focus on your own areas. Absolutely. That's just what I was saying before. Don't worry about the things that you can't control. I'm only concerning myself with the things I can control. And the thing I can control is the content that I make. And I can decide like what type of content that's going to be, kind of thing. And I can also work within the restrictions, and sometimes every negative can be a positive kind of thing. Sometimes being restricted from doing stuff can generate new ideas in itself, and it can send you in a different direction, and it can force you to do something that you probably wouldn't have done otherwise. I'm getting all philosophical now, but there's a thing that says that basically until you become really uncomfortable in a situation, you'll probably never make a change. And the kind of the way it was explained to me was kind of, if you're in a relationship with somebody and it's not great, you don't have the best of relationships, you don't really kind of go out together, you don't spend a lot of time together, but like, you've got a house together, you've both got a job, you're paying the bills. It's more of a hassle to kind of break up, kind of thing. So you just keep like going through the motions. Neither of you will ever make a change, kind of thing. If you've got a job where it's like you don't really enjoy it, but it's not awful, and there's a little bit of flexibility around, kind of, you can take holidays when you want to take them, and the money's not bad. You wish you had a bit more money, but it's enough to get by, kind of thing. You'll never make a change. What it takes is something like disastrous or something extreme to take you out of that like mundaneness, to make you go, look, I've had enough now, and I need to do something different. And I'm kind of at that stage now, like if I could have quite happily just rumbled on, just kind of making enough and kind of ticking over, but things have changed, and it's been the little blue flame and the little touch paper kind of thing to say, right, it's time to do something a little bit different. So yeah, that's that's a long-winded and philosophical kind of rant there, I suppose. See you in a bit, VJ. To safe journey for take the little guy to school. Greg saying, honestly, I watch you just for a normal hobby conversation. I know you struggle to find your spot in YouTube, but maybe you're overthinking it, and this is it. It's quite possibly that I am, mate. It's quite possibly that I am overthinking it. But when you work alone, it's really hard not to kind of second guess yourself. It's really hard not to have that imposter syndrome and kind of think, is what I'm doing right? Am I not? It's really hard as well because it sounds awful to say it out loud, but like somebody once told me this basically and said like I am the product, if you like so people are tuning in to kind of see me, and that feels really uncomfortable as somebody just kind of Joe Average sitting here kind of in front of a camera kind of thing. It's very difficult to accept that. And so like when people go, oh, here's a good idea for a video, and I'll go, oh, people have like loads of people have made that, like why would I do that kind of thing? And then people will say back to me, well, because people want to hear what you want to say about it. And that's really difficult to get my head around, and I still, after 7 years, don't feel comfortable with that. So yeah, maybe I am overthinking stuff, mate, but I think it's healthy to have a little kind of a bit of a break, and it's healthy to kind of to maybe not overthink it, but to certainly kind of give it some consideration. Let's have a little look here. Yeah, Jess says, yeah, I can be miserable and angry without the help of YouTube. Zingbo says, is anyone else a fan of the Hold Steady? As Craig Finn says, you got to stay positive. I've never heard of Hold Steady, mate. Yeah. He says, Up Sings, not says, Hold Steady, you're a band. I've still never heard of Hold Steady. Deep Red says, I'm like number 10. Anyone else want to add a thumbs up? How many we got? We got 36 likes. We got 49 viewers. So there's the prime example, mate. Matt says, talking about people being negative, there's been some GW fans actively hoping that Legion Imperialis fails simply because it's not the version of Epic that they want it to be. I always find that strange that there are always people in this world who will get enjoyment and will get pleasure from something that they don't enjoy failing and doing badly. Like, just let people enjoy the thing that they enjoy. People waste too much energy worrying about the things that they don't like rather than spending that energy on the things that they do like. Someone says, because I want to avoid the negativity and the horrible things that are happening in the world, I go down to the basement to build, paint, and think about the old and new projects and games. That's the hobby. I think, to be fair, mate, I think all hobbies have an element of that. It's the reason people go and kind of sit and go fishing. It's the reason that people go running and go to the gym. It's the reason people sit and paint or they play video games. They just want to have a little bit of escapism. They want to kind of break out from the daily grind of having to worry about paying the bills and kind of all that kind of stuff. I think that's true of any hobby, to be fair, mate. John saying, I don't know about you folks, but I'm genuinely looking forward to picking up Legion Imperialis this week. To be honest, it's not something that was on my radar. I'd never really paid much attention to it. Small scale games are not really kind of they've never really been my bag. That's not to say they won't be in the future. I've just never played one. The idea of, I've always been kind of like a painter, really, and the idea of painting tiny little things has never really engaged me. However, I have seen some stuff over the weekend, and one of the things was people painting the little Imperialist figures actually on the sprue. And not worrying about going super detailed, almost like 3 paints and then putting the little 5 minis on the base and they're done kind of thing. And I'll be honest, it looked quite impressive. Like I say, it's not something I don't think it's something I would necessarily go and pick up myself. But I'm happy other people are happy about it, mate. Yeah, so yeah, I hope you enjoy it when you get your hands on it. Clyde saying, can't get for myself now. Black Friday, Christmas shopping time. Yeah. It is that time as well, mate, isn't it? John says, I hardly watch horror movies now, but I would love a good board game based on Event Horizon. One of my favourite movies. I think horror movies are probably my favourite, mate, if I'm honest. That's my favourite genre, I would say. I actually watched the Five Nights at Freddy's movie the other night. Wasn't that impressed with it, if I'm being perfectly honest. But I think it's definitely aimed more at people that are big fans of the video game kind of thing and love the lore and the background kind of thing of it. I think for your average person who maybe doesn't understand that, it wasn't the best horror film ever anyway. Jess is saying that's all creative things. It's all putting your soul in front of people. You're right, mate. Anna's saying I'm going to try Legions mainly because a few others in the club are always a good reason to try a new game when you can play it with others, mate. Let me scroll down a little bit. Oh, Matt's saying a sci-fi version of Betrayal on the Hill would be awesome, yeah. Anna says, how many games are you playing these days? I find getting down the club and hanging out with people gives me a kickstart and sparks my passion. I'm not really playing anything at the minute, I'll be honest, Anna. It's kind of, I've kind of been struggling to get to the my local club for a number of reasons. One is it's on a Friday night. Friday nights are not a great night to be kind of going to the club and stuff like that. And also just the combination of other stuff. I feel like I've gone through a period of time where there's been loads of stuff happening. I went through that kind of summer period where school holidays, I hurt my foot, and I was on crutches for a while. I had an operation. I was out of action for a while. I was on holiday. It was just a period of right the way through from probably August through September that basically just kind of wiped me out for about 2.5 months when I just wasn't really getting out and playing games and seeing people. And then like you do, you come out the end of that, and it's kind of hard to get back into it again. So to be fair, I'm not really playing anything at the moment, and I need to kind of to get out and start playing stuff again. Clyde saying, can't do the epic scale, eyes are getting old. I didn't think I'd be one of those people getting into MCU and Star Wars Shatterpoint because it forces me to get new terrain, but I can see the details. I don't think you have to get new terrain, mate. I think definitely, certainly my experience with Marvel is that you can get away with some kind of 28mm terrain, to be fair. But no, yeah, I know what you mean about painting bigger models, to be fair. Anna saying, I watched a cool horror the other day called Talk to Me. Not scary, but really cool. Yeah, me and my wife watched it recently. I really enjoyed it as well. Definitely kind of creepy rather than like scary kind of thing. I really enjoyed it. It was good. One of my favourite horrors of the last kind of couple of years really is called, I think it's called Host or The Host. Is that right? Let me double check and make sure I'm thinking of the right one. I think it's the one where it's kind of all done like almost as like Zoom calls. I think that's the one I'm thinking of. Let me just see if it is. Yes, it is. It's called Host, and quite creepy kind of thing. Quite definitely want to watch with the lights off kind of thing. I really enjoyed that as well. If you've not seen that. Peter says, I made a big book in crypto today, so also looking to go Black Friday shopping. Nice one, mate. Good to see somebody doing well. John said, we got our first Gaslands game of the season on Friday. Much carnage and pointless destruction ensued. Somehow I won too. Always a good game, mate. Always a good game. Luke saying, Talk to Me was awesome. Yeah, I enjoyed it too, mate. Greg says, there's no way I could get excited about my Wargame channel if I wasn't playing war games. Playing will definitely get you excited. Yeah, I get that, mate. But to me, the hobby's not always just been about playing, to be fair. It's been about painting and modelling and kind of... I like the industry side of things, so understanding what's going on in the industry. I like all sorts of bits and pieces, so it's not just about the gaming. But yeah, it certainly helps. Being around other people as well, but it's not like I'm kind of short of ideas or anything. It's more about I'm trying to find the right ideas to kind of to forge a path, because I think just making videos without a real plan of where I'm trying to kind of go with it feels a little bit scattergun kind of thing. Luke saying, I really like the Jordan Peele movies, Get Out and Us and Nope. Nope I wasn't as keen on, mate, but I must admit I really enjoyed Get Out and Us. John says, I may see if the Epic box set is at the Battleground show this Saturday. I might pick it up from Leslie's Bits box. Usually sells GW with 20% discount. I'll be wrecked though if I finish my 11-hour shift. I've got no idea how it's been selling, to be fair, the Imperial stuff. Or is it even out yet? I'm not. Is it just the fact that everybody and their dog got sent a copy, or it seemed that they did anyway? Matt says, I'm not the biggest fan of gore, to be honest. I prefer the kind of psychological horror where you're never sure if the events are real. Yeah, the Host film I was telling you about, mate, is definitely falls into that category. Anna's saying, I'll message you on Discord again and try and sort a wargaming weekend. I know we've tried and failed a few times, but we're good to get some good games in and chat. Absolutely, and I am 1,000,000% up for that. I am terrible at keeping in touch with people. I'm terrible at organising stuff. So yes, by all means, I'm definitely up for that. Zingbo says, what Kings of War army did you pick? I went for ogres, mate. So basically what I've got a few ogres, so I've got a few sprues here that I've got ready to go, and I built the first one and did a bit of a test scheme on it. And this was kind of like, I think if I get a little bit closer to the camera, I'm going to focus on that. There we go. So that was a really quick kind of test as a bit of a just like a concept for the color scheme, because I was talking, wasn't I, about doing kind of like sort of like frost ogres, kind of like coming from like the icy north kind of thing. So rather than being that like sort of red skinned or more human skinned, they're kind of like, they're very blue, a little bit like World of Warcraft type stuff. They've got like kind of ice axes and things like that. So that was my kind of my test scheme a little bit. So yeah, I'll be working on those very, very soon. Where are we up to here? Jill saying pre-orders went up this weekend for delivery December 2nd. Okay, so it was just all the people that got sent a copy. I don't think there's anything to sell, is there? Did everybody not get one for free? It seems like they did. Artis Empire says, now I'm hooked. I will keep watching just to see how your channel evolves. Thank you very much, mate. John says, yeah, I'm a huge fan of cosmic horror, Lovecraftian stuff. I must admit, I've been a real big fan of the Lovecraft kind of audio stories on the BBC. I forget what they were called now. Let me have a look, because it'll be in my podcast list. Let's have a little look here. I forget what they were called now. Should be in my library unless I've deleted them all, because I've watched. Oh, that was it. So they're called the Lovecraft Investigations, and they're on BBC Radio 4 podcasts. And I think there's like 4 different seasons of them now. Really, really good. They're basically kind of like an audio book that is, or like an audio drama, where it's like a couple who, well, a man and a woman. They're not a couple. They're basically just a couple of friends who basically have a podcast, and they're investigating sort of some strange going on, if you like. And that's the setting for kind of how they've done this audio drama. It's really, really good. Steven saying Imperials has gone nuts, sold out everywhere. Doesn't surprise me, mate. To be fair, they do a good job of marketing that stuff, don't they? Super Punky Man saying, I've always preferred supernatural horror. Yeah, I do like a little bit of sort of gore stuff, to be fair. Like you know, I like the Hostel movies and Saw movies and all that kind of stuff. I can enjoy that as much as anyone. But I do like a proper like kind of psychological thriller kind of jump scare type stuff as well. I do like that. Ed saying the GW website sold out in about half an hour. I think it's certainly sold out. Okay, and do we know if there's any plans for it to be reprinted or anything like that? Is this just the initial wave, or is this going to be another one of those things that, like, basically you just can't get your hands on now? Luke's saying, yeah, psychological thrillers and horrors in my bag. Gore stuff just seems a weird thing for me. I can't relate to the fascination in it. I think for me, it's more just a case of, like, it's so over the top. Like, it's like that. It's, I guess it's it becomes like in the way people watch fantasy films or sci-fi films about stuff that doesn't really happen. Like for me, it's so over the top kind of thing that it's almost that it's not like I have some dog fascination with wanting to act it out kind of thing. Clyde saying Blackside Studio is my go-to from a horror game fix. Pricey but nice. I think anybody that makes more, I don't like the word boutique, but like sort of high quality stuff in lower volumes, because most miniatures companies are making stuff in lower volumes outside of the one or two big hitters. You're always going to be a little bit of a kind of like a bit of a premium for it. But yeah, certainly from what I understand, I've not played Don't Look Back, but from what I understand about it, it's a fantastic game. Would absolutely love to play that sometime. Yeah, John saying organising games night can be as fun as herding cats. Yeah, definitely. Where are we up to here? Joel, good evening, mate. How are you doing? He says Legion Imperialis was sold out on the GW site when I checked, though I think they sent the entire stock to YouTubers and didn't have any left. That's what I was just saying as well. It seems like from my feed at the weekend, I honestly thought it must have been released because everybody had it. Like, it does seem like it's gone everywhere. But to be fair, that's how you do influencer marketing. Sunderland says, how big is the difference between the new ogres and the older minis? Thinking about getting the ogre ambush set for myself. I would say certainly the quality, mate, is a step up. These new ogres are fantastic quality. What I would say the biggest difference is the legs in the older ones are a bit more kind of ogres that skipped leg day a little bit. Certainly the top halves are not that dissimilar, but their legs are a bit skinnier. But if you're going to kind of rank them up, you could certainly hide some of the older ones in amongst the new ones, and they would certainly work together easily. Sunderland saying, yeah, the difference in quality. Oh, difference in quality. You know what? Like, these are a step on. These are definitely better quality. If you had the choice, you'd buy the newer ones all day. But if you had some old ones and you wanted to mix new ones in with them, like, I think by the time you kind of rank stuff up and you put stuff on multi-bases and things, you'd certainly get away with it. Peter says, Ogre looks cool. Just did an Ogre last Friday. Nice, mate. Luke saying, watched Sunshine again yesterday. I love that movie so much. It was just recommended to me somewhere. Was I watching Corridor Crew when they were talking about it? It's the first time I'd even heard of the film. John says, oh, wow, don't say Redskin. You'll be getting a call out for being non-PC. I think, don't ogres just generally have kind of a more red coloured skin or a darker coloured skin in most kind of fantasy tropes? John saying, it's odd to hear Legion Imperialis selling out when I heard mostly negative comments about it since it was announced. I think therein, mate, lies the blessings and the curses of the internet. It's like saying everybody hates a certain kind of movie. Everybody hates this Star Wars, or everybody hates this Marvel movie, or everybody hates this new video game. Everybody hates this new GW game or something like that. And before you know it, everything's sold out, and like, you know, the box offices don't necessarily relate to what the internet noises around things. Tasty Brain Drain saying, I'll have to pass that along to my roommate. He's a huge Lovecraft fan. He'll definitely enjoy it, mate. Yeah, definitely worth a listen. Matt says, I adore Welcome to Night Vale for its tongue-in-cheek take on Lovecraft. It straddles the line between comedy and genuine creepy horror. What's that, mate? Is it a movie? Is it a podcast, a TV show? What is it? Because it sounds like it's kind of up my street kind of thing. Matt was just saying something about Legion. Where was it? Legions is going to be reprinted. It's going to be the main box set for the game, apparently. That's good to see. At least it'll come back again, and that's the kind of thing. And Ed saying, yeah, I believe it's intended as an evergreen box like the Kill Team starter set. That's good then. I've got no problem with things like kind of like selling out. You know, if things are popular and they sell out on the opening weekend, they sell out. But it's the idea of like, you have to have it now or you can never have it kind of thing that I always think, oh, that's a bit of a shame. Like, you spend all this time hyping up this new thing and then nobody can get their hands on it anymore. But no, good if that's the case. Greg saying Fall of House of Usher is great on Netflix. Yeah, me and my wife watched it. Really enjoyed it. I just started watching the other day something on Disney Plus called... Oh, what was it called now? It's gone out my head. Oh, did I take a picture? I think I sent a picture of it to my wife because I watched the first episode and I said to her, she was away with work when I watched it, and I said it was really good. I'll let you catch up and then I'll start watching it with you. And it was called, if I can find it. Culprits, which is on Disney Plus, just started in November, and I really enjoyed the first episode, so I've just been waiting for my wife to watch the first episode, and then we can watch the rest of it together. So yeah, that seems like it's starting good. Haven't watched it all yet, so I can't kind of tell you what it's like, but definitely started well. Matt says, hopefully with better quality tokens next time around. Apparently the quality of the Legion's cardboard tokens is questionable. Oh, that's a bit of a shame, but I guess does everybody not go out and get like fancy acrylic tokens these days? Super Pumpkin Man says, yes, Saw, Hostel, slasher films, etc. Just not my bag. If I want humans being evil, I'll just watch the news. Yeah. It's in the Legion Imperialis box was went to influencers about August, so people had loads of time to make their videos. That explains why there's been loads of good content. And somebody did tell me, didn't it get delayed or something like that? Didn't it come out at some point? Oh, so this is what, yeah, this kind of, sorry, my mouth's going faster than my brain. So that lines up with what I heard, was that it was going to come out earlier and it was delayed. So all the influencers got this stuff back in August, and that's why there's so, like, ordinarily what you get is loads of unboxings, but because it's obviously being delayed, they've all had time to do some proper content on it. Yeah, oh, it makes sense now, mate. Luke says, yeah, I was watching Corridor Crew. That reminded me I had not seen it in a while. I've not even seen it, mate. Definitely not. Matt says, Sunshine has the world's best I'm going to save the goddamn world music. There you go. And Artist Empire saying, oh, who mentioned Sunshine? That movie was awesome. Yeah, I've never seen it, mate. Super Pokemon says, welcome to Night Vale is a podcast audio book. Right, I'm going to put that into my list now, otherwise I will forget that, because I like a podcast. What's it called? Welcome to Night Vale. Let's have a little look here. Welcome to, oh, there it is. As soon as I started writing welcome, it came up as the top of the list. There we go. We'll pop that in there. I'll click a follow on that one. Nice one. Thanks for that heads up. Let's have a little look. Clyde says, I need more X-Men minis. Come on, MCU. And Jez is saying, I've been the year of folk horror for me. Always like that kind of thing, but this year watched loads. Worked on a forthcoming TV show based around sort of stuff for Veritwood. It's been cool. Nice, mate. It's nice when you get to work with that stuff as well. Matt says, welcome to Night Vale is a tongue-in-cheek podcast in the style of radio station in a small American town which discusses all the weird stuff that goes on. Nice, mate. I've got a bit of a long drive tomorrow, so I'm that's perfect bit of news, mate, to be listening to. A bit of audio drama to listen to on my drive. And Jill saying, yeah, welcome to Night Vale's excellent. Good. Joe saying, I had to choose between Legion Imperialis and Ravage Star starter box. So I pulled the audience, also known as my kids, and Ravage Star won because who wants to play something so small? We'll lose it. That is a very good point, mate, to be fair, especially when you're playing with youngsters. Tizzy Brains Rain saying it's been described like it's Tales from Lake Wobegon mixed with horror and where all the conspiracy theories are real. I really like the Malifaux, the Breachside broadcast stuff. That's kind of like done like a bit of like an old radio station type thing, and yeah, I just really like that stuff. John said, I have the perfect remedy to the flimsy tokens. I got a ton of plastic discs from a craft store to glue the tokens to. I had originally bought to use as figure bases. Nice, mate. Good one. That's good to see, mate. Excellent. So yeah, I think I showed off all my 3D printing stuff last time we were on the live stream. I've been printing off some of that terrain and bits and pieces and things, which was kind of cool. Andrew saying, Clyde saying there, all those Malifaux audios are great. Yeah, I love them, mate. And Andrew says, is 2 or 3 hours a long drive? It is for us, mate. But do you know what? I know the whole thing about Americans going, like 5 hours is just down the road kind of thing. But I think what never really kind of gets mentioned about is just our roads are so bad and they're so busy. So like 2 or 3 hours in the car, it might be 150 miles, maybe like up to 200 miles, something like that. But it's tiring, like mentally draining because the roads are not great. Like it's full of traffic. Like there's always roadworks everywhere. Somebody will have crashed and there'll be delays, and like it's just generally not a nice. It's not a nice drive kind of thing. So I get it when the Americans go out. It's like it's 10 hours across my state kind of thing or something like that. Like I get that, but I think generally your roads, and I've driven in America before. Generally your roads are just nicer to drive on. Matt says, are the Malifaux audios on YouTube? I don't think they are, mate. They're definitely on like podcasts and stuff like that. I think as well, if you download the Malifaux app for your phone, I think they're all like connected to the Malifaux app as well, and you can listen to them through that. Yeah, Jill saying driving in the US is a dream compared to here. Yeah, absolutely. I've driven a few places when I've been to the States over the years. And I always just find it's just a bit more relaxing. Like I think there's an element of, I've always hired like a nice car as well, or like a big kind of 4x4 truck type thing. So you've always got that nice kind of like a bit higher up driving experience, which I find is always a bit more relaxing, to be fair, anywhere. But it's just generally like it's not stop start. Like it's, I mean, you drive in LA or you drive in New York, maybe that's a little bit different. But generally the roads, there's more space. Like the roads are wider. There's like more, like the infrastructure is different. Where over here, there's always roadworks. There's always something like blocking the way. There's a tractor in the lane going between a couple of farmers, kind of thing. All that kind of stuff. Clyde saying, yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I heard them when they first came out. They were all on their own website. Yeah, they're certainly on the Malifaux, on the Weird Games website. They're on the Weird Games app, and they're also in like a normal podcast kind of download thing. And Jill said they are on YouTube. Play Weird is the channel. Are they really? I wasn't sure if they all got uploaded to there. Let's have a little look, because I know they put like their news stuff on there. I didn't think they put their they, you know what, I don't think they are. I think there's some on there, but if you look at them, they're like 3 years old. Yeah, so the newest ones are not on there, I don't think, unless they're ordered. Are they ordered in the other? Let me go back. Maybe they might be ordered in. To be fair, there's a lot on there. I wasn't sure whether they might be kind of in chronological order, but yeah, you can. Oh no, I take it back. Here you go. Yes, they are on there. So. Thank you, Jill. Thanks for that. So this is Play Weird. This is Weird Miniatures YouTube channel. And if you scroll down here, you have the Breachside Broadcast ones. You have the Earthside Echoes, which are the ones that are kind of, it's the same kind of world and environment, but it's based on Earthside rather than the Malifaux side. There's the Weird Chronicles. And then down here, there's these Weird Chronicles here, like like Tales of Malifaux 165 was put up there 2 weeks ago. So there's certainly some up there anyway. So yes, they are available on the YouTube channel. Thank you very much, Jill. I didn't think that they were. Andrew says, you all say that, but playing Get Around the Big Rig isn't for the weak. You have time to do it though, that's the difference. You want to try getting past all of the delivery trucks in the UK, mate, to be fair. Yeah, Johnson, you need a car here. Everything is so far from everything else. Yeah, and Super Punkin Man saying, yeah, nothing like taking a 14-hour plus drive through Texas. Ed says, get off the motorways and we have the best drivers' roads in the world. Yeah, but they don't take you to where you want to go, mate. That's the problem. And they also take you like sort of 3 hours out of the way. So yeah, I generally just kind of like, I only really kind of drive any long distances when I need to get to a particular place. So the idea of extending that for like a nicer looking road kind of thing generally doesn't really intrigue me. And the other side of it as well is our infrastructure for the trains and things like that's pretty bad. So you don't really save any time or any like you don't. It's no real benefit to kind of getting a train a lot of times. Like if I go to London from Newcastle by train, that's pretty quick, to be fair. It doesn't stop a lot of places. It's quite expensive, but I will admit you can be in London in a few hours kind of thing, in 2 or 3 hours, which is great. It's probably nearer about 5 or 6 hours for me to drive to London. So if I go to London, train's definitely the way to do it. But anywhere else in the country, you have to change so many times because it's not really interconnected that it's generally just better to drive there in the first place. Jess says in the UK 200 miles is a long way. In the US 200 years is a long time ago. Yeah. Clyde saying, yeah, US driving's way more relaxing unless you're in New York or New Jersey or Atlanta. Yeah. Matt says, I'd argue that the drive down the Surrey back roads on a summer's day is beautiful. Some of my favourite childhood memories of the old man taking us for a drive around Box Hill. I wouldn't disagree. There are some very picturesque places. If you go and drive around the lakes, if you drive like some country roads and things like that, there's some beautiful picturesque scenery in the UK, and you can definitely go for a nice drive. But generally, when you're trying to get anywhere, like, you know, from city to city, everything's just down the motorways and everything's gridlocked. It's a nightmare. Jill says they put a new one up 2 weeks ago. Yeah, that's how I listen to most of them. Yeah, I hadn't realised that. I always listen to mine through the podcast. Every time a new one comes up, it comes up in my feed and I just listen to it that way. So I hadn't realised they were on the YouTubes. John says I could walk the 6 kilometres to the friendly local gaming store, but only one way. Yeah. Mordecai says, I'm catching up, so I'm a bit behind. Have you played any horror video games? The new Alan Wake is an excellent psychological thriller horror. Do you know what, mate? I used to love playing the horror games. I used to love things like Resident Evil, like the newer ones that are a bit much more kind of like sort of psychological thrillers. I would say from Resident Evil 4 onwards, where they were a bit more creepy and stuff like that. I really enjoyed playing those. I've played, like my son enjoys Five Nights at Freddy's, to be fair, and I've played a little bit of that as well. That's kind of like jump scare type stuff. I haven't played the new Alan Wake, but I have heard good things. Maybe it's one to pick up. I have the VR headset as well for PlayStation, and I played the Resident Evil. I think it was Resident Evil 6. I think it was the Village in the VR headset. My God, what a different feel that made to the game. It was really creepy doing it like that. Jill saying, I was watching a fascinating video recently about why Britain's so awful at big infrastructure projects. We can't seem to get a handle on it. I think it's one of them things, Jill, where our roads and our systems were set up for like a tenth of the amount of people that live in the country now, and then we don't invest in new stuff. We keep trying to update what we've got. So we try to update the railways by improving the system we've already got. We try to improve the motorways and the road network by trying to update the roads we've got. Whereas a lot of other countries generally just like, right, we're going to put a new rail network in, and they just build a full new rail network. They don't worry about trying to replace the one they've got, kind of thing. Matt's saying it's the prices on trains which beg a belief unless you buy them well in advance. Yeah, I would agree, mate. I got a train from Manchester back to Newcastle not too long ago, and it was kind of short notice. And the train from Manchester to Leeds was cancelled, so I ended up getting a lift from Manchester to Leeds, and then I had to get the train from Leeds. That train was an hour delayed, and it was just like it was expensive for what it was. It's disgraceful, really. Hot Paul said he watched that video and been asking myself the same question for a long time now. Yeah. Matt says you get to Coventry and you find the definition of hell is a one-way system wrapped around the centre of town. Yeah, interesting. Anyway, folks, I'm going to call it an early one tonight because, like I say, I've got a long drive tomorrow. I've got my alarm set for 5 o'clock in the morning, so I've got an early start. So I'm going to call it a night tonight. It's my birthday this weekend, so I'm going to be out having a few drinks with my wife on Friday and enjoying the weekend. But the live stream will be on next Monday. There will be a Monday coming up soon that I'll be missing because I'm taking my oldest sons away for their 21st birthday. We're going away for the weekend, and I don't get back until the Tuesday, Wednesday time, I think it is. But that's not for about another 2 or 3 weeks. So don't forget, this Sunday is the deadline for the November Painting Challenge. Remember, the topic is food, glorious food, based around the fact that I'm going to be eating a load of cake and nice food for my birthday. So we will be showing off the painting challenge stuff next Monday the 27th of November. So get your painting challenge stuff in by this Sunday, please, folks. Yep, thank you very much, folks. Everyone's saying it's been a nice stream. Thank you very much. Have a safe journey. Thank you, buddy. A few people saying happy birthday as well. I really appreciate that, folks. And I will see you all next Monday. So take care, folks. Thank you. I always appreciate your support. It's always good, especially when I'm kind of going through this period of thinking about what's the next steps and stuff. I do appreciate you kind of hanging out and sticking with me until I figure it out. But yeah, thanks a lot, folks. Take care. Enjoy your week. Have a fabulous weekend. See you next week.